this video on Fashion Fridays, I'm going to be trying on and just showing you all the projects that I have made from previous years. So I'm very excited. I have some stuff that I made when I first started sewing, all the way up to some of the stuff that I did in college. So I'm super excited. Let's go. Okay, so this is the skirt. Okay, this is a skirt I made. Oh my gosh, this is one of the first things I ever made. I loved the pattern. I found the fabric myself. This was in grade 10 when I first took fashion as an elective. It has like pleats. Let me move closer. I don't know how you can see it because the fabric, like, it blends together. It's a bit hard to see, but it has pleats. These were really interesting to sew because I've never sewn anything like that before. Just a simple waistband. Then it just has a zipper and hook and eyes in the back. But yeah, I remember being so proud when I had first made this. And honestly, like, I still love it. I've never worn it out though. I don't know why, but yeah, that's the first thing I ever made. Okay, so next, it's an overall dress. It's purple. This is one of the second things I ever made. It's like a jean material, but it's super light, so it wasn't that bad to work with. And it just has like buttons, the way buttons, the pocket. Oh, it's up here. The pocket. I'll show you the back. I'm tripping all over the place. I don't know what I'm doing. Crisscross back. Honestly, I love overall dresses, so I was so excited that I got to make one, especially in a color I like, because I was obsessed with the color purple then. I still am now. And I just did like an A-line skirt with it. So overalls can be pretty complicated, which I didn't know going in, but like getting the placement of the straps properly can be very hard. You literally can't see my face in it at all, but I suck using this camera, so we're doing the best we can, but the focus is not on my beautiful face, but the outfits. So you're gonna have to survive with it being cut out of the frame. Okay, this is the third thing I ever made. My school would put on like semi-formal dances, and I loved going to them because I love dancing. And I didn't have a dress, I didn't want to spend money, so I just made one. And this is the first thing I've made that I actually wore out. So that was very fun. It was so nice. Hannah, I love your dress. Hannah, I love your dress. And I was like, oh, I made it. I made it. It totally went to my head. But honestly, it is a source of confidence to be wearing clothes that you made. You know what I'm saying? Because you put in the effort to make it look good on yourself. So it's a very rewarding feeling. I also remember, this goes like up to my knees, but yeah, I also remember that my older sister, she let me borrow her shoes. She said, don't break them, don't break them, don't wreck them. And I did. But she loves me too much, so she wasn't that mad about it. She still brings it up all the time, but you know, whatever. You can buy new shoes. You can't replace me as a sister. So I don't know, priorities, whatever. This is the third thing I made though. Semi-formal. Shiny, sparkles got everywhere. My mom was not happy. Had to clean out her car, so that was fun. Okay, so this is the fourth thing I ever made. So I took fashion in grade 10, and then I took it again in grade 12. So for that year, like, you got to make your own collection. So I did mine like off of music. So I just picked genres of music that have like kind of distinct styles or things that you would expect someone from like that genre to wear, clothes that are associated with that genre. And I just made clothes based off of that. So one of them I did was like punk or like rock, as you can see. I did a jacket, and it has like this like checkered kind of pattern. This is fake leather, and then this is the back. This is the back. It has a second pattern here. I love doing contrast fabric. I think it's so nice because it's so simple, but it's just like that little extra detail that really like makes it more unique, makes your clothes stand out. And then for the shirt, I had the girl like walk down the runway. She like walked down the runway, got to the end of it, took off the jacket, flung it over her shoulder. I was so proud of her because she was like a grade 9 who I got to model for me, but she was so nervous, but I talked her up and she killed it. So I was so happy about that. But yeah, for this shirt, I just did kind of like a muscle shirt kind of inspired thing. Same checkered pattern on the back. I did like a skull cutout. I was so happy about that too. And I was worried because it was like a stretchy fabric. So I was worried I was gonna cut it and it just like was just gonna keep ripping, like keep going. But it didn't. And I still think it looks sweet. And then for the pants, I just did like jeans. And I got these iron-on patches. Oops. Here you can't really see that well, and I have some. There it is. The UK is really like a big influence on that rock kind of culture. So I said, why not include it? You know, I really wanted to make sure that people could understand what the theme of it was. And then these jeans, it was all jean before, but I cut it off and I added like leather to it. And it's the same as on the jacket to kind of tie it in. Yeah. Okay, so the second one I did was like rap, like kind of street style, and was for rap music, so I was inspired by like street style. So unfortunately I lost the top, but that I also like DIY'd. I literally just went to Walmart and got a long sleeve t-shirt, and I got it in men's because it was going to be baggy, and I also didn't know what size my model was going to be because I hadn't found one yet. So I just like cut out the shoulders and I cropped it, and I literally got like an iron-on, it was like this guy, he was like graffitiing like something on a wall. I couldn't remember what it was, but I just printed that out and ironed it on the shirt. And then I also like added some like spray paint of my own, just to add a bit more of myself to the design. But yeah, like taking something and turning it to another and kind of like DIY adding stuff, I really enjoy that as well. But I do still have the pants. Well, they're actually shorts, and let me just move a bit closer for this. But yeah, they're literally just like gray, dark gray kind of short. I did like the racing stripe on it out of like pink, so it was like a big like pop of color. And yeah, there's not much to say about that. I'm sorry I lost the shirt, but on to the next thing. Okay, so the next thing, if you couldn't guess, okay, yeehaw cowboy, I did country. Honestly, I'm not really a fan of country music, but they have a distinct style, so I went with it. So I did overalls again, aside from the fact that I love them. I mean, it goes so well. The surprise, they're shorts, overall shorts. I did shorts. So I obviously used a lot of plaid because for the undershirt, I bought a shirt, plaid. Actually, no, I had one, but I didn't wear it, and I didn't want it to just go in the trash or something. So I was like, you know what, I can use this, let me take it. So I did a patch in the front out of the plaid, and I also did some on the bottom. In the back, it's a crisscross back. I can't remember what I was saying, but oh yeah, my shirt. So this is the shirt. So it's all plaid, but in the back, I took off the back and added jean. So the whole back of the shirt was leftover plaid. So that's why I just incorporated it more into the design and added it in other places. And I put a little lace in there, you know, country girls and their lace, that's a thing. And it worked with my theme. I had some. So yeah. One thing I will say about this though is if you couldn't already tell, the placement of my buttons or the straps is a little low, but I hadn't really made a lot of overalls like at that time, so I didn't know my model, so I just kind of went in blind, and I still think it turned out, but I've definitely learned better ways to make overalls and make sure that the straps are placed on right. But yeah, that was my country themed outfit. Okay, so next up I did like for indie music, so I was inspired by that like bohemian kind of look, you know, running through the flower meadows, flower crowns, that type of thing. Let me just show you the full dress. I wanted it to be like kind of flowy, like Little House on the Prairie kind of vibes. And I love the sleeves, like I love like how big they are, like I would definitely do something again with sleeves like that. It just has a tie. As you can see, it's tied like super weird, but I just remember it being like the day of the fashion show, and I wanted to make, like, as you can see, like the jewels, like I didn't buy these, like I made it, right? So I just remember like that was my plan from the start, but like I got sick. I was sick for 2 weeks, and I came back and it was so close to the fashion show, and I still had like a whole outfit to make, which is the last one I'm going to show you. But that one was the most work, so much other stuff I was kind of like doing last minute. So it's the day of the fashion show. I show up, my friend puts this on. She's like, Hannah, this is like gaping open, like, are you gonna tie this? And that's when I remembered, oh fuck, I was supposed to. So I'm literally like trying to tie this up. I don't know if I would have figured it out had I had time, or I just don't know how to like crisscross loop things like this type of thing. But yeah, that's why it's like tied like super weird. And I remember like when I wanted to put these on, because I hadn't yet, so I'm just sitting there like the day of, we're supposed to go on like in an hour, and I was like, how am I gonna attach the ribbon like to the actual jewel part and then still get it through like the holes? And I realized I wasn't. So I was like fucking speed looping that shit just so I could hot glue it at the last minute. So it's kind of ghetto, but shit, sometimes you just have to do stuff last minute just to get the look right, you know? Time gets away from you, and sometimes you just need it to look nice going down the runway, and you can fix it later. So yeah, that was my bohemian look. Okay, so last but definitely not least, I did soca. So that's like a type of music that you find in Trinidad. Like all of the islands do it, but it originated in Trinidad, like as far as I know. So I'm half Trini, so that's a style of music that has always been like present in my life, and honestly one of my favorite. Like it is so upbeat and energizing, and it's something that always like picks up my mood. So this was something that was more personal for me to make. And again, as I said before, like I got sick, and I still like, I didn't want to cut corners. I could have made this design more simple, but I chose not to. So we ended up with things like the tie on the indie one, but I think it was 100% worth it. With this one, I what's the word? I kind of DIY'd. Yeah, I DIY'd a lot of it. I think this is, at least for at the time, I think the hardest thing I've had to sew. I got like a jacket. It's actually like a Halloween pattern, but let me just go up here and show you the full thing. So the back, and it has a trim. So I was really trying to like imitate the costumes that you see specifically in like Caravana. This is the side. It is a different type of red. It is very similar shade, but it has kind of an embroidery to it. The back. You know, but I also wanted to have a bit of like a royalty type of vibe, because they do have like the king and queen of the parade like in Caravana. So I also did like the head band, because a lot of them do wear like headdresses. So, oh wait, I don't know if I showed you. There it is. I had to like hand sew this piece in. It was like one of the hardest things. That's the first time I've ever had to hand sew a decoration like that, and it is so like long too, because it goes all the way down the bottom. But again, like even to this day, this is something that I'm still the most proud of. So this is the same dress that I wore to semi, reduce, reuse, recycle, okay? And it works. It works. So I also wanted to do like the colors of like the Trinidad like flag, so like red, white, and black. So this is obviously the red, this is the white, and I tried to use a lot of like white designs, or as close as I could, because there wasn't many, so I kind of had to use silver as the closest I could get. But some here. This is supposed to go up, but it does not go up on me. My model was much smaller. It was actually my older sister, so shout out to her. She did me a solid, and she looked like a goddess wearing this. Trim here. I did some on the sides here. Some of them have fallen off. I did use fabric glue, but it's been some time. And then I did around here, like, personally there was just a lot of like little details that I had put into it, so I think that's honestly what was so time consuming about it. And then this is the trim here. It is pretty bottom heavy, so compared to what I know now, there are definitely some ways that I would have sewn it differently, but at the end of the day, like, I'm still really proud of this. So yeah. Okay, so the last thing I made in high school was my prom dress. It did fit me a bit better during prom, but yeah, I didn't even want to sit in this, so face out of frame, it's fine. I did go prom dress shopping. I had a lot of fun doing that. Trying on dresses is always fun, but I just wasn't really finding anything I liked. And at the same time, like, I knew if I could just make whatever I wanted to fit who I want, because I knew how to sew, I was like, let me just do that. Let me just do that instead. So yeah, I went fabric shopping. I got this fabric. It ombres, and I love that. Purple is my favorite color. So, I mean, it was hitting all the check marks. Let me show you the full thing. Let me just go up one more. Okay. So this is the dress. I gathered it. And there's a second layer here because this was pretty see-through. So I didn't want to just go with that. And then I did like a skirt, a leather skirt underneath. So it just like opened in the front. You know, when I was doing the walk, it'd be like, ooh, wow. You know. It was just the vibe I was going for. And I like leather. I thought it was like interesting because the purple is kind of softer, you know, more princessy. So I felt like another thing I love in design, contrast. So that's why I put it with the leather, because I felt it's the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying? It was more hard and kind of like, I guess, aggressive compared to like the softer purple sparkly ombre, you know. But I loved it. It was comfortable. I wore it the whole night. I danced. That swish. Ooh. Yeah, and then this is the front. You can see more of the leather, and it went up like that. And then it's a leather belt, and then it crisscrosses kind of in the back. Yeah. So there's that. This is the type of dress that I would still wear today. Although oddly enough, I don't really know if I would design something like this today. But yeah, and that is my prom dress. I'm dead. Okay, so I'm not gonna sit down in these either. But fast forward, we're in college, it's first year, and we get to make a shirt, well, not short, but sorry, pants, a bodice, a dress, and a skirt. There it is. Couldn't remember. A skirt. I can't remember what order they went in, but these are the pants that I went with. They are vinyl, if you couldn't hear. They were like everywhere, those like vinyl pants on Instagram, so I liked the look of them. I was like, let me move closer. I was like, let me try it. Let me try it out. So these are my vinyl pants. Has 2 layers. This is like, the layer underneath is like leather, because obviously it's all clear, so I didn't want to have to worry about wearing something underneath, you know. And then I did a side stripe of purple. Surprise, surprise. Oh my gosh. It's so hard to see because it's clear. Can you see that? Yeah, I did a side stripe out of like purple sparkles. I used purple thread for like a contrast, and silver stars. So again, I love crafting. I love DIY stuff. So this is another chance for me to craft a little bit. Yeah. So I imitated kind of like a jean style, because I did, wow, these are really sticking. Oh my gosh. And my basement is so hot. I don't know if you can see, but I did a yoke on it. So that's literally just like the triangle piece that jeans have before the waistband. But yeah, I did a clear button. And those are the shorts. They don't fit me very well, even though I wanted them to, but at the end of the day, I learned a lot about working with vinyl and leather this way. Informative. Okay, so the next thing we did was skirts. This skirt does not fit me too well, but you know, sometimes like that happens. Like with at school, like we had to make our own patterns. So that was like, it was my first year trying to do all that stuff, and pattern making, like when you're first getting into it, can be very complicated. So it seemed like a simple design, but it's just like I kept having to go in and fix things, and I think I just kind of kept making the pattern bigger and bigger while I was fixing things without even realizing. And yeah, so it ended up like, it just doesn't fit me well, and you'll definitely be able to tell. But you know, I'm still proud of it. One of the first things I made. I ironed it, I promise. It doesn't look like it, but this fabric really does not iron well. I don't know if it's because my iron has been through something, so it doesn't work as well as it used to. But yeah, it's still really nice fabric. I have like embroidered flowers on it. I'll show you up close in a second. But yeah, so it's just a paneled skirt, and I wanted it to kind of go down thinner like that, kind of like a mermaid, and then this was supposed to flare out more, but it didn't because it was too light. And even though I gathered it, because the bottom opening on the skirt ended up being so wide, it didn't really matter that I had gathered it. But this is the back. Yeah, so maybe this is something I'll try and remake, because I still have a lot of the fabric left. So this is the original, the like main part of it, sorry. And again, has the embroidered flowers, and I love the color too. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but it's like this bluey kind of gray. And then I did light purple organza, and to try and give it the volume I wanted, I put tulle underneath it, but that didn't really work out. But you know, I still learned a lot. On to the next thing. Okay, so this is the next thing I made. It is a dress, as you can see. We're gonna explain why it's sitting, how it's sitting in a second, but this is the full thing. It like sweeps off. There it is. It sweeps off, so it goes like, it swoops like that into like a leg opening. And then this is the back. So then the bottom has like the sweeping motion across this way, so I kind of went across on the top, and it was supposed to be like off the shoulder, and like you can see my shirt straps coming up. This dress was supposed to have straps, but it turns out doing straps, especially spaghetti straps, are hard. They're so hard, especially when you're using a fabric like this, because it's very slippery and it tears easily. So I made my straps a bit too thin, so trying to turn them like inside out was not working, and I ended up tearing it. And like at this point, the dress was like on the way to being late. Like it was just not a good time making this dress, and to be honest, I kind of hated it the second I started making it. But I really just couldn't think of anything. It was like a creative block for me, but this was such a big part of our grade, because this was one of the 4 things we were making. So I just said, whatever, we'll do this, maybe it'll come together. And it didn't, but that's okay, because sometimes that happens. And I still got a good mark, because even though the dress doesn't hold up, it's still a dress, and I still constructed it really, really well. So it still worked out okay. But yeah, this is what it would have looked like had it had straps. And then this is the back. All right. Okay, so this is the last thing from first semester. We had to do bodices, so I ended up doing two. I did this one I'm wearing now, and I did a jean one, but I lost it. I don't know where it went. I hope it didn't end up in the garbage somewhere, because I've had to move like a couple of times, so I'm not sure. But it was a jean like corset type of shirt, and it had straps. So that one was a fun one to make, especially because like I'd never put like snaps like how they have in jeans on before. So I had to use a hammer, so that was a very interesting experience. And I had to do it outside because I had to do it like on a hard surface. So I had to get like a piece of wood to like hammer it on, and it was so cold outside. Like my hands were literally shaking because of how freezing it was. But listen, the shirt turned out nice. Sometimes you just have to suffer for your craft. And that day I really did. But this shirt, it fit my model better. She was like much tinier, but I don't even know what to say about this shirt. It has this kind of pattern. So I like it. I like the embroidered part of it. I like that it's not like all the way. There's like kind of holes in the flowers. So that was interesting. A bit of like, it was just interesting on the shirt. I like the sleeves, again kind of similar to my like bohemian one. I like the flare on the sleeves, and normally it would be able to zip up, but and then it just has a collar. I like the flared kind of collar, and then this is the back of it. So yeah, those are my shirts, and that's all the things I made from first year. So I'm just going to show you the things that I made for second year, which is my last year because my program was only 2 years. Okay, so jackets, specifically tailored jackets. So I'll explain more why I'm getting specific in a second, but let me just show you the jacket. This is it. I did a box cut. I did take inspiration from that kind of Chanel look because I think it's just so cute. I love it. So it has, I just did like a blue for the mane, and then I did a bit of contrast. Again, I love contrast. I don't like plain and boring things, so I always try and add something to it. I have pockets here, extra trim on the sleeves, and I did a, oh there, we can't even see it, a placket. And this is the back. And my collar just kind of goes into a bit of a mandarin collar there. So with tailored jackets have a lot of things that go on the inside. Like if you had a lapel, you have to do certain things to make sure it folds a certain way. There's a lot of things that like lining and fusing and just like chest plates and things like that that go in to give your jacket the thickness it needs and to make sure that it fits the body you want it to, especially again when we're talking about tailored jackets. Tailored jackets are supposed to feel like a second skin. Like when you're going into tailored jackets, like that's a whole separate industry on its own, and people train for years and years to be able to do it properly and be considered a tailor. Is like, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So even to do it in school, we barely even scratched the surface of it, and it was very stressful. Like this is what it looks like buttoned up. But yeah, there was just so many pieces where like I would think I would know what I was doing, and then I would go look at the textbook or something and it's something like completely different, and it was hard to follow notes too, because when my teacher was talking about the types of lining and chest plates and things like that that you were going to need on the inside, it was mainly for like lapel jackets, but I didn't make one. So I really was just kind of flying blind a little bit, because at second year they were kind of like, you know enough, let me send you out on your own. But I was like, I do not. Okay, I know about sewing, not tailoring. Tailoring jackets specifically, that is a whole, I felt like I was just thrown in the deep end, and I did almost drown, I'm not gonna lie, but somehow I pulled that shit together and I got a jacket. Okay, last but not least, we did a corset. even bothered. This is me trying it on. Or not. Maybe I should have went the other way. I'm so dumb. Hold on. I just don't want to undo all of these. I really don't. So if it doesn't go over my head, it's not going on. Honestly, I think it's my hair. Like that's not. So, let's talk about corsets. I look like a Victorian lady. You know they used to have the high collars in Victorian era from far away. Are you ready for afternoon tea? Okay. Alright, whatever. You know, just Google it. It's a corset. You know, I don't think it's hard to imagine. There. Ew. So corsets. Corsets are normally consisted of like these 4 panels here. So you have a center seam, one at the side on the front, so your side front, your actual side that connects your back and your front, and then you would have a side back, and then obviously your center back seam, which has your little lace up so you can get in and out of it and tighten it as you see fit. So in all these seams, we have these things called channels. You can see them a bit better on the inside. But basically when you sew things together, you have a seam that sits just open like that. Let me see if I can get an example. Okay. It's gonna be my example. So if I were to sew these 2 pieces of paper together, you would end up with folded here and folded here, and that's your seam allowance. That's what we call seam allowance. So what you have to do is take it and then fold it back again. So you take your seam, you fold it again and press it down, and then you have to hand sew the whole seam like that. Oops. And you're just supposed to catch a bit of the seam and a bit of the fabric, because you still have to slide your boning in. And boning is literally either just a piece of like flexible plastic or flexible metal. And what that does is it gives like support and shape to your garment. So we had to work with the metal ones, and that was stressful. You had to like use pliers to get them like to fit, and I'm not like a heavy, I'm gonna get a piece of boning, but I'm not a heavy, it's not even, I'm not a tool type of person, so I did not expect to show up to fashion class and be sitting there with pliers. This is boning. So it literally is just a piece of like corded metal, and it's flexible, but it has strength, so it provides like the support that the corset needs to like suck everything in. But the thing is, you see these individual ones, you have to like ply off the individual ring. Why am I blocking it? Ply off the individual ring, and then you have to put like a metal cap on it so it doesn't stab through the fabric. And sewing the channels wasn't easy. So you can see here some of my stitching, because again, like you can even see some of the boning because I'm pulling it up. But yeah, just like that, you have to sew all the way down. It was stressful. This fabric is hard, it is stiff. Like my hands, listen, you don't think you can get calluses from hand sewing, but it is true. It is possible, because when you keep like hitting your skin and lifting up pieces of skin, those pieces of skin just keep drying and they harden, and your hands are all like hard and gross. Like I felt like I don't know where I looked like I had been working, but my hands went through it. But you know what? Olive oil dip, 10 minutes, my shit was cured. I did it a couple of times. So if you work with your hands and they get calloused a lot, moisturize like you drink water, and dip your hands. Doesn't have to be olive oil, any olive oil, you'll be cured. Because my hands are once again nice and soft after this intensive labor that I went through to get this. Okay, intensive labor. but it is worth it because now I know how to make a corset. Not a lot of people do, and it could come in handy because with fashion you never know what you're going to want to make or what someone else is going to want you to make. So I complain, but I would do it again. I really would. Okay, so closer. That is everything that I made up until a certain point. With the last thing that I ever made, we had to do a collection for our last year, and I didn't get to finish mine because of COVID. I had to go home, and there's just so many things that weren't set up for me to be able to finish it at home. But I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna leave it. But then I would just come downstairs and look at all my sewing stuff in a corner, and it would just make me like really sad and depressed because I don't like to leave things unfinished. So I finally got all my stuff organized, got my machine, and now I am ready and able to fix my collection. So that's what the next couple videos are going to be about. It's just me showing you like how I went through the process of coming up with my idea, making my patterns and sewing it and all that kind of fun stuff that goes into making a fashion collection. Just because I have it, why not share it? Maybe you'll learn something from it, and I don't want to leave it unfinished. So, you know, it'll force me to finish it and like keep a good schedule, because I'll have a posting schedule, so I can't just flake and be like, you know what, I'll sew it tomorrow, you know. So accountability on my part, because I can procrastinate a lot. But yeah, so that's everything. I hope you enjoy the stuff that I sewed. I'm gonna be showing you more stuff again as I go through my collection, so I'm really excited to share that. So I will see you guys next Friday when we talk again about fashion.